Hey y'all, hey. Hey y'all, hey. Happy Monday. Welcome to another moment with your girl Mojo. Today's topic is celebrating 50 years of Mojo, believe it or not. If y'all don't already know, every Monday I ask you to join me for a moment to talk about all types of different things, but the baseline of our discussion is just how you found your mojo or how you find your mojo. And whatever it is you are doing, if you're looking for a new job, you're looking for a new boo, you're looking for a new school, you're looking for just a new way to be happy in your life, I ask a special guest to join me as they share their story and tell us how they found their mojo and how they continue to find it. And today's, or should I say this month's special edition is just going to be entitled Celebrating 50 Years of Mojo with people that I have met all throughout my 5 decades of life. So last week, if you missed it, it was with me and mommy. You can find all of the episodes on my page, Mojo295, on Instagram, or what I'm trying to do is switch on over to YouTube, where you can find me at FYM with Maisha, where all of the episodes from the month since March will be shown there. Finding Your Mojo with Maisha. So like, follow, subscribe, share with your friends. So now, with that all out the way, y'all, happy Monday. Thanks for joining. Today, my special guest is my favorite sister, Dr. Camille Butts. Camille Willis Butts. Camille Butts. Yes, that's who's joining me today. So thank you for joining, sister. So happy to have you. How you feeling today?
I'm feeling great. I'm glad I'm your best sister, even though I'm your only sister.
That's right. That's right. I always go tell the people. Sound way more
Feeling
special
great.
yesterday. So if y'all don't know, if y'all knew it, if this is your first Monday with your girl Maisha, I start each moment with a cocktail. Sometimes it's a mocktail, but today I'm definitely gonna make a mocktail. I usually try to inspire it by what my guest likes to drink, but
Wait, you making a mocktail or a cocktail?
I'm making a cocktail today.
Okay.
I get inspired by what I know my guest likes to drink, but you can also just drink whatever it is that you want to drink because as far as I know, a lot of good conversations are started with a little drinky drink. I'm not going to use the red cup to drink out of, y'all. Don't worry. I'm just using this as a tool to get prepared. So anyway, today I'm going to make a watermelon martini because that's just what I feel like doing. I have some watermelon left over from yesterday. I'm trying to use things around the house, and I don't want to make the recipe have so many ingredients that y'all might not be able to find them or have them. So it's going to be a margarita with some watermelon in it. The mixologist in me loves to use a shaker, so that's what I have. I have a shaker with some ice in it. I have a pretty glass because that makes me happy. Today I'll probably drink out of my Mojo glass because, like I said, I'm celebrating the 50 years of Mojo. So come on and drink with me. If y'all not having a margarita, go on and pour whatever it is y'all pouring, wine, beer. Camille's case, I think you're making a vodka and juice, right? Is that what you're making?
Yes, I have some watermelon juice. So mine will be
Ooh.
watermelon and vodka.
See, we do all of the things here. We mixing it up. She's having a little watermelon with vodka. I'm having some watermelon with some tequila. So I'm gonna do 2 ounces of tequila in my shaker. If you don't have a shaker, just go on and pour that over your ice. And I love a ginger beer. I love most things bubbly. So if you don't have ginger beer, if you have seltzer water, if you have club soda, just do something a little bubbly. You could even use a little ginger ale if you don't have ginger beer. But I'm doing 2 shots of Miss Tequila. Then I'm going to do
I'm
just
going to go get my ginger ale.
take your time. Take your time. I'll be here. Then I'm going to do 1 ounce of Miss Cointreau or whatever orange liqueur you have. Triple sec will do. I was feeling a little fancy today because, I'm celebrating me. So I'm doing 1 ounce of the Cointreau. So y'all feel me? Y'all with me? 2 ounces of Miss Tequila. You could do vodka too, apparently. It goes well with watermelon juice as well. Then I'm going to do just a little squeeze of some lime inside my shaker. You heard? So I'm going to squeeze up some lime in here just so. Just a half. I don't like a lot of, so I'm just going to squeeze a half of my lime up in there. Yeah, that's what she's going to do. Then, as I mentioned, I I have a little leftover watermelon for yesterday. If you too have some leftover watermelon, do the things or just get some watermelon juice already squoze. So here's my watermelon. I'm a smash her up a little bit, hence the red cup. I'm not drinking out the red cup, y'all. Even though we all know the red cup has its purposes. I'm just gonna smash my watermelon up in there so I can get the juice out good. So I can shake it up in my little mixer. So then I'm gonna pour a little bit in there. Hopefully it comes out. Yeah, And I'll probably add a little more watermelon juice at the end just because that's what I feel like doing. So now that I did all of that, so if y'all following me, I got the 2 ounces of my favorite liquor. I got a half of lime and I have 1 ounce of Cointreau or your favorite orange liqueur. Triple sec will do. I'm gonna take it up just so. And if you like yours a little sweet, I don't always like a sweet drink. You can add a little agave or simple syrup if that makes you happy. You should also be able to open the glass, which I can't always do because of the condensation, but it's moving. I'm getting lucky. All right, there we go. So if you have a glass, hopefully there's some ice in it. Go on and pour that girl over that. Ooh, they look pretty. And I don't usually like stuff floating around, but something about the water.
Pretty.
It's sweet already? All right. And then I'm going to add just a little pour of ginger beer because like I mentioned earlier, I like a little bubbles. I like a little bubbly. So anyway, now that y'all here and joining, thank you. Thank you for joining. I should say that our topic today, not only are we celebrating 50 years of Mojo, but I get a chance to have some designated sister time with my sister just to talk about how we grew up, how we found our mojos, and maybe during the time we discuss about how we found our mojos, y'all find a little bit of y'all's too. So I'm gonna try and pour. I'm scared. I shouldn't do it. I'm just gonna drink out of this. Cheers, y'all. I want to pour it in my Mojo glass, but I have a feeling I'm gonna make a mess. Oh, but you pouring over there good. Hold on.
I'm pouring.
You pouring. So I'm gonna try it.
But I got plastic.
All right, I did it. I did it over paper towel. Success.
I'm gonna add a little bubbly.
Yeah, so I think I'm gonna add a little more bubbly at the top. And I'm calling this a emojified watermelon tea. If y'all just join in, I added 2 ounces of tequila, 1 ounce of Cointreau, a half a squeeze of a lime. You could put a little simple syrup if you like. I did not. And I put a little ginger beer over top. And now we're just going to drink to that. Cheers. Sister.
Cheers.
Happy Monday. That's a good number. How's yours?
It's good. It's a little sour. I think this watermelon juice has some orange in it, maybe.
Maybe that would be a case you add a little agave. And actually, I think I'm going to add a little to mine, even though that's not usually good. Maybe you can add a little agave.
A little agave. Yeah, I might need to do that.
I didn't bring my stirrer, so I'm going to go ahead and stir it with the smasher. You know, versatile up in this camp. So anyway, y'all, today's topic is celebrating 50 years of Mojo. Me and my sister are going to just chat a little bit about how we grew up, some of the life lessons we learned, some of the differences between us, and how we are close even with the differences. And if y'all want to chime in, let us know what some of your things are, what some of your pointers are, getting along with siblings, family, difficult situations, how you found your mojo in your hood, wherever you grew up. Holla at your girls. Come celebrate with me. So cheers to that. So cheers to celebrating birthday season with me.
Birthday.
I say adding agave is a good look. That's what I say. That's my thing.
Okay.
So anyway, sis, let's get into it. I don't want to keep the people too long, but let's just start from the beginning. Who are you? Where are you? Where were you born? Where'd you grow up? Where was you raised?
Who am I? That's a big question. I actually, nowadays, I refer to myself as a Northern Georgia peach.
Okay.
Yes, and that is because, as you know, I am born and raised in New Jersey, born in Orange, New Jersey, of the Orange Memorial Hospital that is no longer.
Mm-hmm.
and raised in East Orange. Went to East Orange public schools with the pivot to Catholic school for middle school grades. So, high school, went to high school in New Jersey, graduated from the illustrious Clifford J. Scott High School, which also is no longer, has been kind of merged together. But one of the proudest identifiers I would say of myself of high school is one I don't know. I think about the different points in my life, and that's one of my, I think, most favorite times of life to
Mm-hmm.
this.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, anyhow, raised there, of course, um, with parents who from the same area, one sister. I would consider, as I grew up and learned more people, our family was pretty small and intimate, I think. Um, in terms of I have what? We have first cousins, one, two, three, four first cousins
Mm-hmm.
by blood, but a number of other first cousins by family orientation, I say.
Great way to describe. I always struggle
Yeah,
how to say that. My mother's friend's daughter, since she was in
no,
first grade.
it's just yeah,
So I like how you explained it.
it's just family through relationship,
Yeah.
and sometimes you can be closer and people more like family than some of your blood relatives. So that's why it's just all about relationship. Um, what else? So then came down to Georgia to Spelman College immediately after high school,
Okay.
which I also fell in love with Atlanta at that point
Mm-hmm.
before I came down here. And spent 4 years here, then went to a job after college that kind of took me around some different places, got married, two children, which are your niece and nephew.
Hey.
And then came back to New Jersey, where
Mm-hmm.
I attended dental school for about 4 years. After becoming a dentist, came back down to Atlanta and have spent most of my professional career here as a dentist and most of my adult life here as a dentist. I've since divorced, I've remarried, and I've been enjoying 2 years of a new marriage of a 8-year relationship. I think we've been together about 8 years.
Nice.
And now entering a new phase where I have adult children. Now I also have a grandchild,
How about that?
4 months old. And that's kind of chronologically who I am. Um,
And
but
that, I mean, now that you say this, great. I know on the show I usually interview the people and now ask all the questions, but it occurred to me as you were talking that maybe I should give a little background on myself. It made me, I had that thought because I was hanging out with a friend yesterday that I've been friends with for 10 or 11 years. And do you know, she said, "You got your degree from Clark?" I was like, wait a minute, what? Yes, HBCU in the house. So maybe in this moment on Monday, I should tell y'all a little bit about who I am. And we're celebrating my 50 years. So maybe I should know about some of them. So I think I'll do
yeah,
the same journey as you did. I won't start from the very beginning since you kind of explained that. But yes, Jersey girl through and through. I still live in Jersey. I had a similar path, but different in terms of elementary school. I went to elementary school down the street. Actually preschool. I went to right up the street from my house. I could walk there, which is now a Haitian Baptist church. But I went to elementary school at Columbian, which is now called Sheila Oliver Academy, I believe. Walking distance, 2 blocks literally from the house. We had the candy stores on the corner, which were my favorite. We had the butcher on the corner after that. We had all of the things down the street from the house. We have a few things now, but not as much as before. After elementary school, I too moved to a different city for middle school. Well, Camilla didn't go to a different city, but I transitioned and went to Montclair schools. My mother started teaching in Montclair. So I went to Glenfield Middle School, then to Montclair High School, both in Montclair. I was definitely a little what do you want to say? I definitely wasn't the happiest camper to have to go to a school that I couldn't walk to, or friends that didn't live down the street or around the corner from me. But definitely a good, now in hindsight, now in my older age, I definitely understand, get it, why we moved. The education was a little better in Montclair, and just the surroundings. And I think sometimes parents just know their children. I was definitely a little social butterfly, so I might have done a little better with a new start and some new people and some new surroundings. So middle school and high school and college, I mean, in Montclair. I went to college in Atlanta, Georgia, after having visited my sister at Spelman College. I had no idea where I wanted to go to college, but knew I wanted to go somewhere out of state rather. And so after visiting her at Spelman, I guess I kind of fell in love with Atlanta too. I guess I wouldn't, when I look back on it, I didn't even realize or admit it or say it like that. But yeah, I liked Atlanta. It was cool. I met some cool Black folks. I met some cool, just people in general, and had a ball. My sister showed me a great time when I went there. So after, and I guess we didn't say this, we are 4 years apart. My sister is 4 years older than me. So I haven't been able to visit her while she's in college and I was in high school. Forget about it. We'll get into the story later about when she went to Clifford J. Scott, how I thought I went to that school too. But anyway, you couldn't tell me nothing. So much so that I went to her reunion with her a couple years ago. So I still am like an honorary Scotty doll. Anyway,
Absolutely.
quietly, I remember your principal's high school name, and I don't remember my high school principal's name. Like right now, as I'm sitting here. I was like, I really can't. Miss Nichols rolls right off my tongue.
Miss Nichols.
Yeah, Miss
Yes.
Nichols. Who was my high school? If anybody's watching, please chime in. Tell me who was Montclair High School's principal. I don't know. Anyway, that's terrible. I could even tell you my elementary school principal, because I think it was yours too, right,
Mr. Daniels.
Danielson. See?
No, not yet. Just Mr. Daniels. I think his
Daniels.
first name might have been Henry, maybe. Or Hank or something. I don't know. But it's Mr. Daniels.
No. What was my middle school was Dr. Tunstall. I don't know high school. Woo.
My middle was Sister Antoinette, but that's another.
Oh, I kind of remember that. Sister Antoinette at St. Joseph's. But anyway, y'all, so I should also say that growing up, we grew up in a church. I remember going to Sunday school all the time. And if you watched my Monday moment last Monday, I was asking my mother, like, did you go to church when you were growing up? How did we end up at church? She said that our neighbor, Miss Dottie, is the one that started taking us to Sunday school. So what I remember first is Union Baptist Church in Orange, which is still there, unlike the hospital we were born in or the school that Camille went to. But we went to Union Baptist Church. Camille actually, with her first marriage, she got married at Union Baptist. And not shortly after, but I think high school, we went to transition to New Hope in East Orange. We stayed there for a little while, and then we left that church when the pastor that we had newly elected, they asked to leave after only a year. We started our new church with my father, which is Imani Baptist Church, that is also still in existence, which is right next to Elmwood Park in East Orange, and my mother still attends. And now I am back at New Hope with a new female pastor, Dr. Thursell Williams. So that is lovely. I might have added a doctor to her name, but definitely Reverend Thursell Williams.
Scotty dog.
I was about to say, who was also a Scotty dog. So I think that was too much of a ramble, but I realized that on a lot of my shows, I'm interviewing the people, but I never kind of told you a background from where I've been. So yeah, East Orange, born, raised, went to middle high school in Montclair in a nutshell, college in Atlanta, Georgia, stayed in Atlanta only. I graduated in 97. A mass communications journalism major, stayed there only for a year or 2 years probably after, came back to New Jersey, 99, 2000, started working for a publishing company, which is kind of still along the same lines of like a journalism, mass communications major, still with the books, still with the love of the people, the books and the writing. Am still there to this day, kind of left and came back, but am still there to this day, enjoying the books and the kids and all of the things. And trying to write on the side. I need to do that. That was one of my dreams, talking about who I am. And now I'm doing marketing and educational events. So here you are. And I'm back in East Orange, New Jersey, in the house that I was raised in and loved, along with my mama. So there you go. That's me in a nutshell. So now that we got all of that out of the way, sis, what will you say? Could you describe our relationship? Not, at length, but in just a summary from little to middle to not where we are now in terms of like the type of relationship we have had.
Sure. It's interesting. So little to middle, kind of to adult. I mean, it would kind of sum it up. Little would be more so, it was kind of a nurturing, and I felt I was the second mother type situation. Middle would be more of, you know, um, I guess a transitional stage where it's like, yeah, I have a sister, but it was like that was, I think, where the most age separation kind of thing was, where I was just like, oh, she doesn't know what I'm doing. She's too little for this, that kind of thing. Probably the time when we probably weren't as close as to adult, where it's almost like, we there that time in terms of age difference isn't there, and it's a true mature friendship and relationship. Um, and it's like we journey through life together differently now than at that point.
That's
Um,
a great way of putting it. I like
Being little, like I remember, during times where I just felt like it was certain things I had to teach you or protect you from, or make sure that if I got something that, that person looked out for you too, that kind of thing. And it's funny because as I raised my own kids, I kind of saw them go through it,
that.
where my daughter thought that she was, my son's mother, and she had to take care of him. And if somebody gave her a balloon, they need to give him one, even though he's in the car seat. What does he care or know about a balloon? But
Uh-huh.
that kind of thing, to it being when they got older, like, this bothersome little brother, who's always in her stuff or messing her up or telling on her or something like that,
Yes.
until now. So we'll kind of continue to see where it goes. And that's probably similar, I think, for a lot of sibling
Hmm.
um type relationships, I think.
Hmm.
So definitely the evolution. I think mommy told the story last year about how I would try to make sure your hair was looking right or do your hair. If she didn't do it right, and make sure that you were in the right things or in the right places, that kind of thing. And then during the middle stages, I can remember, wanting to have my own space and wanting you not to be involved in my business, so to speak, that we shared a room together. And I literally, our mom had a sewing room, which she didn't have much time in life to do much in there. So it was just a bunch of stuff and junk and whatever. I literally cleaned that entire room out, moved my stuff downstairs to
She had
make my
motivation. Her motivation to get rid of me was
right, to make my own room. And that room was a smaller room than the one we shared together and everything, but I was determined.
yes.
Okay. I was determined so much so. And I guess they ended up having, back then you had the teen line.
Mm-hmm.
We had
Yeah.
our own phone number. So, I guess somehow I talked them into getting another jack in the room so I could have my own phone in the room. And
Girl.
it was a lot.
You
And then
used to be a great debater. I feel so. Like when you felt some way strongly about something, you're like, this is why I should have it, and these are the reasons why. And so
right.
I used to be in awe. Like, wow, I ain't saying nothing. I'm just gonna take whatever. That's what you said we're supposed to have. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
Right. Yeah. I mean, even going to high school, because I remember coming out of Catholic school, everyone applies to Catholic high school, which I applied to Immaculate Conception,
Mm-hmm.
maybe St. Vincent or Mount St. Dominic, some other school. I don't know. But I
Mm-hmm.
had gotten into some of these schools and I was like, please do not send me. I could not go. I negotiated for Scott. I was like, I will get the best grades. I'll bring home these grades. And if I don't bring home these grades, then send me to Catholic school. I had debated about how they were going to have to spend tuition money and all of this. Why are y'all going to pay this when I can go right here? And so they ended up letting me go.
The dentist or a lawyer, I don't know, but I remember like it used to be knocked down, drawouts about it. I mean, it used to be elevated voices in a room. I used to go and hide, like, oh, you are in trouble. She made
Yeah.
it too. I tried the same thing coming up after her, and I guess what worked for her did not work for me because they were like, "Yeah, that's nice. You're going to Montclair High. All right." I guess I didn't lay all my same cards on the table. My debate
Yeah.
wasn't as good. I did not win the debate. The debate,
And
rather.
it was changing a lot
Mm-hmm.
during that time. So yeah.
And like I said, when she was in high school, I literally followed her around. So it all worked out for me and her. So at least for me, I can say.
Yeah, it was definitely good. It was a family environment. People were around the football games and this and that, and I was doing the cheerleading thing. So it was good times. Good times.
That's cute. That's cute. Now I didn't write this down before that, but then I was thinking about like first boyfriends. I don't remember you giving me any particular advice about them, but I remember you having a couple boyfriends and them feeling like, and I just been so and was in awe. I'm like, oh wow, hi, like Camille's little sister, hi, and they always treated me nice because they had to because they were your boyfriend. But do you remember having any stance or opinions or uh, feelings about how you had to regulate me or teach me what boyfriends or?
Not really. That part is really, really foggy. And I think because of the 4 year difference, we're almost like, if it was probably like a 1 or 2 year difference and we were ever, overlapping in high school or overlapping in middle school, maybe. But literally, we only spent 1 year together at Columbian, probably when you were
Yeah,
in
yeah, yeah, that's true.
kindergarten and I might have been in fifth grade or something like that.
Hmm.
Never in middle school was there any overlap, and never in high school was there any overlap.
Hmm.
So I don't remember getting any advice. And I remember kind of when you um were dating, the first real boyfriend I can remember you having, was it Scooby?
That's the first one I mean, besides like middle school, yeah, the
So,
real
and I was kind of
like I
in college,
knew about, yeah,
but you said that I knew about, right?
the
I
parents,
was
everything.
kind of in college by then. So we were
No, I
then
didn't even think
separated
about
by
it like
miles.
that. I guess that's true. Yeah, because four different age difference, young and older, is really really different. That's true. I don't
Right.
even
So
remember. You remember calling you about it? No, I don't even remember that stage.
not really, because again, we had long distance phone bills back then, so we really
That's
couldn't
right.
talk. It was no
Right.
cell phone, text messages, shooting a screenshot, or look what he's doing, or look on the social media to see what.
Right.
There was none of that.
Yeah, my boyfriend's in way more trouble now than they would have been then. So there you go. So talking about growing up and
But
living.
the funny part was, remember when the guy I ended up taking to the prom was one of your friends, and that's how
Yes,
I
that's
found out
so
he was lying
true.
about his age.
Yes, remember that? That is so funny. And that's yes, too. I wonder what happened to him because I still see his cousins, but I don't see him. I
Yeah, I
gotta
don't
ask
know.
what happened to him. That's
Hmm.
true. And I don't even remember when that introduction and all of that. Well, I guess you had to have a little Montclair. I had to have a little Montclair influence on me. Okay.
Yeah, a little bit. I think I might have gone to 1 or 2 parties or something, or
Or
we had some
something,
overlap
right?
during the summers.
Too funny. So do you
Hmm.
have any standout New Jersey moments that you want to call out, like growing up? What comes to mind right away for me is when we used to do like the backgammon on people's porches. We just used to be outside on a porch,
Outside.
outside on a porch, and the double dutch, and then back. I said that already. Backgammon, double dutch, and drill team. Or
Yes,
doing
drill
drill.
team, backgammon, double dutch. Listening to the radio, trying to get the cassette lined up so we could
The
record the
cassette.
song without the commercial.
Yes, the
Yes,
cassette. That's right. Yep.
you
And then the
know,
boombox. The boombox. Who
the
had the best
boombox.
boombox?
It was kind of like very, I want to say the G ghetto word, but it was kind of was doing hair on the porch,
Doing the hair.
cornrows.
And you have some people that better. I never could. I never learned how to cornrow. You definitely didn't pass down that trait. I still to
Yep.
this day do not know how to cornrow.
But yes, the drill team, and and I used to love to hula hoop. That was
Oh,
my thing.
I relearned how to hula hoop in the last couple of years, but I haven't done it about a year. So that's coming to
Hmm.
maybe that'll be my next reel, a hula hoop. So would you
Yeah,
say how would you go ahead? I'm sorry.
no, I was just saying those are some of the things that stand out. I remember, like you said, walking to school and things like that. I remember when mommy was teaching me to walk to school to Columbian, and
Mm,
we walked all the way and then walked all the way back together. That's how close it was, right? And
yep.
then she walked half of the way, and then I walked the rest of the way by myself, and then had to walk back and things like that. I remember going home for lunch. We were the home for lunch kids. Remember, we used to, I don't know if you remember, we used to leave at lunchtime and go to Miss Bot's house,
Oh yeah, yeah,
lunch, and then go back to school. You can
yeah.
never do anything like that in these times.
No, that's right. Because I even now wait in my commute to New York, I see the people walking their kids to Columbian or Sheila Oliver School. Yeah, I see them walking. I guess they don't let them walk by themselves. Rarely do I see elementary age kids walking to school by themselves.
Walking by themselves, no. And leaving at lunchtime, no.
Yeah, no. Now I do remember when I started going to school at Montclair High, I was so excited because you could go wherever you wanted for lunch and come back.
Oh, you
I didn't know
could.
anything about that life. Yep. And I feel like when I
Wow.
went to Montclair High, everybody was smoking cigarettes. All the teenagers were smoking cigarettes. And our parents smoked cigarettes. So I think you and I were like, yeah, no, we don't want none of that life. We didn't like how it
No.
smelled. We didn't like that. We would
Yeah,
smell
I was
it.
good with that.
Yeah, so even going there and seeing the freedom of being able to do, and they could just buy it for the apparently was there an 18-year age limit? I don't know because they were buying the cigarettes from the truck that used to be outside the school.
And that
So
was a standout thing to me. Like growing up, we could go to the store and your mother, father tell you, buy me a
that's
pack of
right.
7-100s, Benson and Hedges,
I
and
had
play
this
these
like
lottery numbers, boxing straight and whatever. You
that's
can't do
right.
that
No, that's so no,
no
must not
more.
have been age limit. Must not have
You
been.
remember that?
Yeah, we know they're cigarettes. Yes, Benson and Hedges, Salem 100s. Yep.
You
Too
can't
funny.
play the lottery numbers for a kid can't play the lottery nowadays.
No,
They used
funny.
to give us the numbers on a piece of paper and we give them to them. They play the numbers.
And then when I went to Georgia, Camille, my first year, 93, everybody was so excited about the lottery. I was like, why are these people so excited about the lotteries? Because they didn't have it in Georgia. It's just legalized around there. So I'm like, don't y'all not going to the store for your parents to play the lottery? Like, what are
Right,
you
right.
excited? Too
That's right.
funny. Now, do you think your personality or your of course your priorities change, but like who you are a little bit has changed. Like how, of course, they have changed. How do you feel like you've changed as a person from the time you'll say like middle school, grown up now? Like
Uh,
description of yourself. If you had to use some adjectives.
Personality wise,
Yeah, personality wise.
um,
How did you find your mojo?
I don't know. That's a great question. I think during those times I probably was a lot more conservative or programmed. You know what I mean? You had to follow the steps. You went from this grade to that grade. You studied these things. You had to figure out, okay, next you're going to go to college. You're going to major in this. You're going to get a job. And my thinking, I think I was more tunnel vision.
Mm,
Whereas now, as an adult and be experiencing so many different people, different things, different environments, you kind of spread your thinking out a lot more and tend to think out of the box. Maybe you don't have to go that way. Maybe you can do this, instead of thinking that, certain things I think during those days you thought were unattainable. Whereas now, if I think back, if I was thinking more like I am now, I think I could be a lot further along
Hmm.
because I just wasn't very open. I was very rigid, I think, in my thinking back then.
As you're answering that question, it made me think of a lot of different things that I admire you for. I'm wondering, like, I don't think I knew that you ever wanted to be a dentist until you started applying to dental school. And then you shared that, yeah, no, I always wanted to be a dentist, but for whatever reason, you didn't do it or you waited to do it. I wonder if that's when you started not being as rigid, because even
That's
now,
probably true.
yeah,
That's probably true.
okay,
Because I didn't really see myself, like, I thought about it when I was in high school, but it was just like there's no way. I only got 4 years I can go to school, and in 4 years you can't become a dentist, so that's just out. You know what I mean? I didn't think, well, there's a way. There's other ways to pay for it. Maybe you get a loan, maybe you do this, maybe you do that, So in school, I was very focused on, let me major in something where I can get a job, and that's all I thought about.
me too, me too.
That's all I
Then,
thought about. So
then I
when I
wondered
got
too.
out and I did that and I still wasn't happy, I was like, you know what? You can do something else. There is
Okay.
a possibility to do other things. And that's when I think things open up a little bit more.
And then what to me anyway was interesting about that, not only did you decide like more than it just being a passing thought and you actually executing and doing it, you were in Georgia and already had a daughter. You still only have one daughter. Had a child, and I'm making them new stories now. And then when you applied to places in Georgia and in New Jersey and other places, got accepted to Jersey. I think not in Georgia, if I remember correctly, or maybe you
Correct.
did.
Hmm.
And so not only did you decide that you were going to dental school, but then made the decision to move to New Jersey with your daughter, and then go to school here, which is a whole new. Did you have a job and quit your job to go back to dental school?
Yeah, I did. I was working in investment banking.
Okay, at Wachovia then.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yep, I was. And I actually quit the job to go back to dental school, but it was a big risk because, mommy and daddy are like, okay, but you have a job with benefits. What are you going to do about benefits? What are you going to do? And I didn't have all the answers,
Hmm. Like you
but
did when you were going to Scott.
right, right. I had the answers. I knew how this was going to work and why no other decision was going to work, right?
Yes. Hmm.
But I didn't have all the answers, but I was just like, I gotta try this, and if I'm gonna do this, I gotta do it now, type of thing.
Now, do you
But
feel like
it also, it's a big risk. You kind of step out there, you do it, and then after it works out, you're like, okay, guys, and then you stick your head back in the sand, which is what I did, I think,
huh,
for a long period of time.
huh, even though when you came here, what was your last year of dental school? You were pregnant with H and still finished on time. Your
My
third year.
third year. Yeah, my third year, I was pregnant with H, had him, and then yeah, finished out the senior year.
Henry,
Yeah,
sorry, my nephew, we call him H. So I'm talking again like
Henry.
it's just
Yeah,
yes. And so you did that. So all of those different stages, like you went from I'm just going to go to school to major in something I know I can get a job in. I'm going to do it. Then making the decision, but I still have this dental thing in my brain. Going to dental school, not going in the state you lived in, moved back to New Jersey with a child already, had another child, finished on time, and then so went back and started practicing. Like that's no small feat. So even though you say you stuck your head in the sand for us to a small degree, you still got to back out and kept going. Do you think even now in life that's still serving you, being able to go to the next thing and think bigger? I mean, to me, yes. When I sometimes, Camille, I'm talking to you and I'm like, oh, I can't do it. I can't buy a house. I can't do this. You like, well, what if you move this? It's like you have a chess brain. Like, okay, well, what if you move this piece here and this piece there? I never thought about it, but you just like I feel like you're a problem solver. So I just wonder, is that something you see in yourself too?
nowadays I do. Yes, yes, I do nowadays. Yes, but it wasn't, like I said, always that way. I mean, it was a safe thing to come home to go to school, right? Because I have a child, I have family support,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
so even though I was doing it, it was still a safe move, which I think it was the best move for me at the time. But I don't think I was sticking my head in the sand then. I think when I came back, because even when I went into dental school, I wanted, I was not opposed to opening the practice, right? I thought
Mhm.
about opening my own practice even back then, which I'm still struggling with getting together my nonprofit then when that's listed on my dental school essay application as to something I wanted to do.
Oh, wow, I didn't
But what
realize that.
I'm saying is when I got out of dental school, I was back in the mentality, oh, let me just get a job, da da da. I gotta raise
Mhm.
these kids. So I went and worked for the county, which was a good thing to do, and then I got burnt in some early dental job situations, which made
Mhm.
me like, okay, let me just stay steady. So it
Okay.
didn't happen while I was in dental school, but immediately when I got out, a lot of things was happening, and I just kind of got stuck for a minute. And now I feel like I'm thriving again in my career by all of the new things that I'm doing and the things I've learned to do with dentistry. But you just any advice I have for someone is just keep going, don't stop, just keep running, don't ever stop and stand in place, because it's better to run and fall because at least you've made some leeway than to run in place and you still running, exerting the same energy, but you're not going anywhere.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt.
So
Now sticking or going back or rethinking on the theme and just celebrating 50 years of Mojo. Like I have my own answer to my own question. But how do you feel like being my sister or us being siblings has helped you in your journey to, in life in general?
it helps a lot because it's almost like you're my sounding board for anything, because you always have a reference. In all your life, you've always been the more free spirited person. I always refer to myself as like, okay, I got to go this path, I got to do this.
Mhm.
But you are always, I feel, checked in emotionally with what feels
Mm.
right or what you want to do, or, or a different side of things that where I'm more like on paper, does it make sense?
Okay.
You help me figure out, does it feel right? Is it right with me spiritually? That kind of thing. And you've always been able to provide that kind of support for me.
Oh, it's always interesting to see how other people see you. So that's the, I mean, more importantly, how your sister or somebody close to you sees you. I
Mm.
think I was trying to think as I knew we were going to have this conversation of what like some of the different moments in our lives were together, special, indifferent, whatever they were, and how, because I guess there's different parts. Like, are you close to your sister? Like, if somebody asked me that, like, absolutely. She knows probably what time I'm going to the bathroom. So it's funny. But I was trying to remember if there was a time where it wasn't that way. So when you were talking about the different stages and when we were 4 years older, in high school and middle school, 4 years older feels a lot less than 4 years feel right now. So one
Mm.
of my favorite, I think when I started remembering is when, not started remembering, but when I really started recognizing and realizing how close I felt to you, probably when you came back home and to be able to see my niece and nephew every day and the changes and things and watch you mother them and just to see the beauty in family and the extension of the family, that's when I really started feeling like, oh wow, like this is something special. Like how you know it, but when you see it and
Mhm.
feel it, that's when I was really like, and when I really felt like I one of the most emotional times. But I mean, we had several moments. I mean, we just got married again, so that's one too. One standout. But when you graduated from dental school, and I think it was New Hope's basement, we had the
Yeah, it was in Imani's basement.
Imani's basement. Okay, see, and I don't think I knew I was gonna say anything, but I stood up to say something, and I just remember feeling so proud and admiring you so much. Like, wow, you did all of these things, and that's my sister. Did you know that? That's my sister. So I just remember that. Anyway, that was as you were talking, that was just one of my. So if I had to answer the same question that I just asked to you, like you're right, like yes, a sounding board, but just somebody that no matter what the response, even if you don't say, you should do this instead of that. Like just knowing that I have you to say that to without judgment or, ill
Absolutely.
feelings, and just the love. It's nothing else of love coming from whatever it is you say, whether I
Whatever it
disagree,
is.
agree. So that I think
And
that's
the simple part of the relationship, first of all, when people tell me a lot of times they're not close to their sibling, like I don't understand that. It doesn't register. Like I'm trying to, what does that mean? How are you? What? But anyway, it's almost like whenever we talk, I don't need to even fill in a whole lot. Like I got to fill in the story, but you already have all of the background,
yes.
all of the context,
Mm-hmm.
where somebody else may not, and that's really like invaluable.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with
And
you more.
on the not so, I try to even, and when we talked about this, remember like some of the last time we argued since we were adults, and I really can't remember anything.
No, me either.
Except for over that car, the car,
What?
the Toyota Tercel,
That's
something
what I
happened.
seen. Oh, the car, the Toyota. And I don't
I
even
don't
remember
know.
the argument. I think
I
maybe
don't remember either, but I just remember it was something with the car.
that's too funny. I didn't even think about the last time we argued. Yeah, no, I don't remember that time.
And that was like back I think I was living in Pittsburgh. And you know
You
how
must have
long
been
ago
because I
that
didn't get
was.
that car until I was in college. And
Right.
yeah,
So it was
that is hilarious. Yeah, but because
Mhm.
besides, cause what? Yeah, why you mad? Why do people mad? I don't know. Like frown lines in my head. Just I'm frowning, trying to think about when I'm mad. But yeah,
Right.
so true.
Hmm.
That's a beautiful thing.
So yeah.
What advice could we do you have for people who are going through that, who have siblings or family members that they're not speaking to? Are they like not even, I guess, yeah, speaking to, because being, I guess you're not close with everybody, especially people who come from big families. Maybe that is a little difficile. But you know,
Yeah, I mean, I would just really just encourage people to be honest and be real with the feelings and really examine, is there a way to get past it? Because
yeah.
we're all here only for a certain amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
And is it worth it? And a lot of times we think of, a lot of times I think we forgive friends for, if offenses that are much more than what a sibling even did, but because of the relationship, we feel like it hurts that much more. So I
Yeah.
really think that, we got to put things in perspective. And if there's any way to communicate what it is and agree that you don't agree on whatever it is and agree on some ways to get past it. I think one of the things that really hurts relationships is that you kind of, once something happens, you keep this list and you never forgive the person for whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
And once you keep that list and you're not letting things go, of course, the next thing you're not going to get over it because you got all these other things.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
whether or not it's therapy, if it's talking or involving a neutral person or a neutral family member to help, I really just think it's just so worth it because nobody, somebody you share a parent with, that's a really special relationship.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I know we're coming up on 49 minutes, so I'm just gonna ask a couple more questions. And as you were talking, it just made me think of one thing. The first thing it made me think of was like in our family, what or our household, I guess our mainstay, the four of us, me, you, mommy, and daddy. Is there something like how would you describe our family growing up? And then two, is that did that play a did it or how did it play a part in your raising of your children?
Hmm. Um, I think we had a definitely a close family unit. I think we all had kind of understanding and roles. Um, I think our parents raised us by modeling the behavior that they wanted us to have in terms of responsibility. I can't say that we were like, necessarily like, oh, every time you come in the door, you got to give me 5 hugs and then 5 kisses on the cheek. We
Yeah,
weren't
yeah, yeah. Super
that type
effective.
of family, but we made sure that we sat down at the dinner table and ate together
Mm.
and talked. And I think that was very important. We made sure that we celebrated each other on, whatever the occasion was. And I think that was very important in terms of, upgrade bringing. Um, and it was also just a safe place to be for us and for, friends. We always were able to
Yeah,
incorporate, whoever was in our lives,
yeah,
in
yeah,
our family life. And I think that was important. I think we had a lot of trust amongst each other, you
yeah.
know. Um,
I love that you said that. That's so true. Like our friends, and I'm just as you're saying, it's making me think. I wonder is that why my friends are so important to me? Because our friends always felt welcome in our house as family. And I remember the same thing with mommy and daddy's friends, like stump jumping, Aunt
mhm,
Sandy, Aunt Carol, like they all
mhm.
Aunt Kathy, they're all like our friends. Mommy used to have Rosalind and Scotty over for brunch and breakfast. So I'm like, okay, that's what we're supposed to do. So this is what I'm doing. So when you say
Right.
modern, so true. Yeah, it was just like second nature. And I don't think I actively thought that this is what I'm going to do. It just felt natural. So,
Yeah, it did. I mean, there was some sit down conversations about things when things happen, but I can't say, I wouldn't be honest if I said to you, every time, okay, you're going into high school now, let's sit down and have a talk about this. Don't do X, do B, don't do C, don't, it
hmm
really wasn't that type of situation, I don't think.
hmm
And as things came up, we talked. I tried that same, and I think that influenced how I raised my children.
hmm
I don't know if it was the best way or, for them in terms of modeling. Hopefully, it will continue to manifest something or that the seeds are there. Um, but yeah, I think it had a lot to do with what I did. And then also exposure, I do remember that. Like, they always had us in these different camps or, experiencing different things. If you wanted to try dancing, I went to the computer camp, we did different things. So I tried to instill that in terms of, my children. Of course, education was always very important. And so yeah.
And then as you were talking, I realized that a question that a cousin asked us last week on the live, rather, the line, you see, I'm aging myself, was if we had any challenges in terms of feeling like we were competing against one another. My response is no, I don't remember that. Like you mentioned earlier, I remember being like, oh, how come, can I come sleep in your bed at 4 and you're 8? And you're like, no, girl, stay over there. Or like when you want to leave rooms like that kind of thing and have your own space. But in terms of competition, like no, like you said, celebrate one another. That's what I remember, but I don't remember competing. Like she's a cheerleader. Oh shoot, now she the captain of the cheerleaders. Now I really get to go. Now I really am somebody. Like I just felt elevated by you, not necessarily in competition with you. So how do you
Yeah,
feel?
I agree because I think we had, we were different people with different talents. I remember you being more talented in terms of arts and dance. I mean, you got invited to be in that company. I can't remember the name of it. You and Belinda
Oh, the
were
dance
dancing
company.
down there at Essex
Oh,
Cow
Gallman's.
Garment.
Gallman's, yes.
Right.
Used to
And you were always just excellent at that and better with art stuff, writing and things like that. I was more of a math person, and I had my own kind of thing. So I think separate things were encouraged. And like I said, we celebrated each other. I never thought of like in competition. I don't remember my parents ever saying, I don't know if they said to you, well, Camille did this, or you got to do this, or Camille didn't do this, so you got to do better than her in this, or whatever.
No,
I
I don't
don't
think
really
that.
remember those type of things, or if I knew how to jump rope, I was going to try to teach you how to do it too. It
Yeah,
wasn't that I was trying to be better than you, but it could also be a part of the age difference too, because I'm sure siblings that are closer in age probably have more challenges. Like if it's two boys and they played on the same football team or something like that, it's probably a lot more going on with that.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so now in conclusion, which is last but certainly not least, how do you feel like spirituality has helped guide us through all of our challenges, our growing up, our coming of age, our 50 somethings? Do you think that played? I mean, yes, the answer is yes, it has played a role, but how has it played a role for you? And do you think it's because of how we were raised and how it's always been implemented or part of our life? Spirituality, religion.
Yeah, so first of all, it was I think we were a lot. You mentioned earlier about the introduction to Sunday school, and we went with our neighbors to Sunday school. Mommy and daddy would never like, oh, you gotta go, you gotta go. You know what I mean? We were allowed to explore and find spirituality on our own. I think even when I was decided that I wanted to be baptized, I was telling them like, look, this is what I want to do. And, from there they were like, okay. And then, we kind of went from there. So there's that part where I don't think in our household, it was kind of like, you must be this, you must be disciplined by this, you must go to church 8 hours or whatever. But at the same time, it was clear that the focal point and that things happen because of building your spiritual relationship with God and it being at the center of our family, and praying before we eat and things like that.
Yeah, yeah,
I think as an adult it's helped our relationship in that I really didn't learn much about even being still, meditation, communicating with God until we kind of learned that together. Like, oh, well, did you check out this? Or did you know about meditating this? Okay, well, I'm going to try to meditate 10 minutes. And we kind of talked about how we could incorporate it in our lives to make ourselves better, as people. So, I think that kind of thing has, definitely influenced us a lot.
yeah. I agree. I couldn't agree with you more. I don't have much more to add to that, but I definitely wanted to point that out because I definitely feel like it's what gets us through the ups and downs, the highs and the lows, as they say. Yeah,
Absolutely.
but nothing else matter or nothing else makes sense. Rather, that does.
Mm-hmm.
Coming back to the
Mm-hmm.
middle, as my girl India Irie would say.
Yes.
Yes, yes. Well, sister, I think we're coming to the end of the hour. 58 whole minutes, my recording says here.
All right.
I hope the people were as interested or entertained as I was because I enjoyed the conversation and I talk to you every day. So,
We do. We
yes,
do
yes.
indeed.
I hope this a mojo finding moment was good for y'all all because I really enjoyed it. I'm still learning my way with the whole YouTube StreamYard pre-recording, might I add, but please feel free to comment, to like, subscribe, and share. That's what they're saying you should say. At FYM with Maisha. I do this each and every Monday, except for the summertime. I'll take a little break in the summer. So all the 5 Mondays in June, I'll be right here celebrating the 50 years of Mojo with somebody different from one of the different 5 decades of my life. So y'all join me now. Y'all come celebrate with me. If y'all don't know, I celebrate every year, like crazy town, USA. So this year will be no different, and in fact, to be a little elevated. So come back next Monday. I'm not sure who I'm going to have, but it's going to be somebody from one of the decades, and we're just going to have a nice, even, free flow conversation about what it means to find your mojo and whatever it is you're doing in your life. And your mojo just means how you're showing up as your authentic self in your life. So I hope y'all been commenting, asking questions. I'll respond if I haven't already. But thank you, sister, for joining. Thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for the continued support. If y'all have a topic y'all want to talk about, please feel free to DM me, text, email me, hit me up. Let me know what y'all think about, what y'all want to talk about for next season, which I think is season 5.
Wow, sis.
In
That's
September,
awesome.
about all of the things. I'm definitely trying to move over to YouTube. We're gonna keep it going in the summertime, even though it won't be on Mondays. I'm gonna shoot y'all a couple few reels so y'all see how the party is going. But thank you again, sis. I hope everybody is having a fantastic week. I'll see y'all back here next Monday at 7 p.m. EST for another Monday moment with your girl, Mojo. Have a good night.